Okay, let's have a discussion about crime, violent crime in blue cities, why it's so rampant, what's going on, and let's have a discussion that may get uncomfortable about police agencies, large police agencies in the United States of America. First, let's get a couple basics out of the way. First, basics you already know. You watch this show all the time. We don't have to rehash the entire thing, but just for the purposes here, Democrats are not Democrats, they're communists now. They are fighting a revolution. They are not political, they are religion. They are fighting a revolution against everything. And part of fighting a communist revolution is the use of violence. Not just them, you just want violence everywhere in society to increase. Destabilizes things, makes society more ripe for revolution. Thus, open up the prisons. Open up the prisons. Now, one of the main ways the communists do this in this country is through this cashless bail thing. Here was Trump talking about it.
This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central, no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out.
No cash bail. So let's talk about this. And this is something that it can make people squirm in their chairs, right? Because we're about to separate society, separate human beings. We don't like doing that, especially as Americans. Everyone's equal, right? But let's be honest. The reason traffic was bad on your way to work or school this morning is not because all the drivers on the road are stupid or selfish. 5%, 10%, stupid, selfish. It only takes a small percentage to ruin traffic. Why do you have to sign 8,000 disclaimers when you go to the doctor's office? Is it 100% of the patients who are morons, sue happy, all those things? No, 5%, 10%. Why does your kid not learn as much in school as you think they should? Is it because the whole class is a bunch of hooligans and dummies? No, it's 5%, 10%. Whenever you are at any place in your life, you will discover it's a small percentage of society, the bottom of the barrel, who ruin it for everybody, and it works the exact same way with crime. You don't believe me? I suggest you go get to know some cops. I am friends with many of them. A cop who is well established in an area, well established in any area, they will tell you when they hear of a crime. A cop established in an area will hear that somebody stuck up a convenience store. That cop will usually be able to give you a short list of the people and or groups responsible for that crime. Why? They know who the bad guys are. I mean, we act as if criminal justice is complicated, and don't get me wrong, some parts of it are complicated. What do we do after we catch them? How do we stop them from being that? I get that, but overall, criminal justice is not that complicated. If you want to stop crime, find the criminals. It's a small percent. Find the criminals, arrest them, and keep them in prison, period. Once they're locked in cages, people don't get hurt anymore. Society gets better and safer. If you let them out of those cages, they'll go on and they'll hurt more people. Why would Democrats fall in love with something like cashless bail? Because it allows animals to commit crimes, walk into jail, sign their name on a piece of paper, and turn around and walk right back out. The point of bail, after all, in part, is to keep you inside so you're not outside hurting people. Naturally, Democrats hate that because why? Because they're not Democrats, because they're communists. They want people hurt. Now, here's the problem if you're a communist. That's not going to be popular. And don't delude yourself into thinking these Democrats, they don't know what's going to happen when you turn the serial rapist loose from jail. They know what's going to happen. They want it to happen. But that doesn't look good, right? No matter what society you're in, it's very hard to run for office on the, hey, I'm pro-crime. That's a tough platform to sell. So they lie like this.
Well, first, let's just look at the actual numbers. In Washington, D.C. and all across the country, crime was going up during Donald Trump's first term. And when Joe Biden became president, crime started to come down. In fact, it's been coming down precipitously in Washington and in cities all across the country. So it's just not true, the allegation that they are making.
Crime's been going down. Crime's been going down, huh? I mean, they've been taking this stance for a while now. Remember when Dome got crushed on stage when she was debating Donald Trump? And of course, because the GOP is suicidal, we allowed a communist named David Muir to moderate the debate, and he jumped in and said this.
Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President Harris,
the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud, just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
Credit to Donald Trump for giving it right back to that dirty communist. But you saw what he tried to do there. Oh, well, the FBI said violent crime's going down. Anyway, let's move on. We'll talk to her right there. Well, see, the communists are in a bit of a pickle when you're turning the jails loose, when you're turning the animals loose onto society. People don't like it. So you have to lie about it. But when you lie about it, you see, this is where institutions are so critical for a society. Institutions keep liars in check. It's one of the main things institutions do. If you're a communist who's caused violent crime to go up, you have to worry about the FBI and these major police agencies, NYPD, places like that. If you're lying about crime, you know these institutions will step up and say, that's a lie. These guys are all committing crimes. Crime's going up. It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. So what to do if the institution is there to stop your lies from moving forward? Conquer the institution. You don't stop lying. You certainly don't stop turning the criminals loose onto society. If the FBI is in your way, you conquer the FBI. Barack Obama did that. He spent 8 years filling up the FBI with committed communists, promoting them through the ranks. They have since promoted others through the ranks. Now the federal police force is completely communist and against you. They are the enemy. What to do if the NYPD is going to be honest about crime? Well, communists run the city. Communists choose the police commissioner. Communists will get to choose the leadership of the NYPD. Doesn't matter how wonderful and brave the guys on the ground are trying to stop the crime, simply take over the leadership and lie about the crime statistics. The communist will constantly run into walls because he's selling something demonic, destructive, and evil. He will then have to find a way over or through that wall, and the most efficient way to do that is conquer the institution that stands in your way. And rest assured, right now, communists are very afraid of what Donald Trump is doing in D.C. for a couple different reasons. One, what if he solves the crime? What if Donald Trump actually fixes crime in D.C.? All these crime stats are going down. How would that make all the other all the other cities? How would it make them look? And let's be honest here. If Donald Trump starts putting violent criminals in jail, who's going to vote for Democrats? That's why they're on MSNBC talking like this.
Lies can only take him so far. Right. He's hoping that with this presence of these troops, he likes, the protests this weekend were peaceful, and the No Kings protests were peaceful. He's hoping for a George Floyd 2020-like situation in D.C. where he can then use that to manufacture another emergency so we can expand power, because what we're seeing is that he governs by emergency, not by popular mandate, right?
And he gets to define the emergency.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah,
he just declares, I hereby declare emergency, and that gets to do whatever he wants, right? But in reality, there is no crime emergency that can't be handled by local law enforcement.
What's that guy really worried about? Fascism? Donald Trump taking over everything by emergency? No. That guy understands that if you start taking violent criminals, you lock them in cages and you keep them locked in cages, the streets will be safe and the American people will slowly, maybe, begin to wake up and realize voting for Democrats is the only reason America's cities are filthy and full of crime. And if you stop doing that, crime disappears. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.